Melissa, and I'm really excited to read you this story called Giraffes Can't Dance. The author is Giles Andre, that means he wrote all the words, and the illustrator is Guy Parker Reese, so he did all the pictures. So let's dive in. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance, where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad, because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald," the animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't dance, you silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird." Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. "They're right," he thought. "I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot." So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. "The moon can be so beautiful," he whispered with a sigh. "Excuse me," coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on, "but sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze." So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He threw his legs out sideways, and he swung them everywhere. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. "I am dancing! Yes, I am dancing! I am dancing!" Gerald cried. Then, one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream! Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen." "How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how." But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." So, boys and girls, in that story there were a lot of rhyming words, and rhyming words are words that sound similar. They're not the same word and they're not spelled the same, but words like trees and knees, dance and prance, sad, bad, feel, real. So when you say those, you're hearing the same sound, and those are rhyming words. In this story, we also heard some of our consonant blend sounds. So I am going to show you what those are on the board. So in our story, we heard a lot of C-R words. So C plus R says cr. So in the story, we heard crooked, talking about Gerald's crooked knees, and we heard cricket, and we heard cried, and we heard crept. So that is C-R. The next sound we're going to do is T-H. So T plus H makes kind of an interesting sound. It says th. So we heard th like in thin. Gerald's legs are thin. And the word the, you hear that in all kinds of stories, especially ours today. And the word then. So that is the TH sound. The next sound we are going to do is ST. So S plus T says st, like in standing. So Gerald's a giraffe and he's long and he's standing there. Still, when you're just being still, you're not moving. And then started, when you start moving or dancing. So that is the ST sound. The next sound we're going to learn is SW. So S plus W says swa, like in swallowed. So Gerald was feeling scared and he swallowed really hard. Swaying, going back and forth with your body. Sweetest, and swishing. That's also kind of like a twirling around. So that is SW, swa. And those are some of our consonant blend sounds that we heard in the story. Okay, boys and girls, so in that story, we heard some negative words when the animals were making fun of Gerald. They were calling him weird and full and telling him he can't dance. So how many of you have ever had someone say something mean to you that hurt your feelings? So Gerald had his feelings hurt when they were saying all those bad things about him. So on the opposite end of that, we can lift people up and encourage them and use positive words. So when they found out that he was a really good dancer, they started applauding him and saying positive things about him, like he was the best dancer, and they were so amazed that he had such good skills. So think about being a good friend and just a positive person and say nice things to people. So now I'm going to issue you a challenge. So we're gonna pretend that we are a giraffe, just like Gerald. So I want you guys to go ahead and pretend you have a long neck and long legs and just move about freely and pretend you're a giraffe. So you may want to reach up and pretend you're eating leaves off the trees. And maybe you come down and you get a drink of water. Or you could be a dancing giraffe like Gerald and start moving and swaying and swishing your tail. Just have fun with it and be a giraffe for a day. All right, boys and girls, are you ready for the next story?